Let me be the first to welcome you all to the 2015 PRCA Convention. We are certainly proud to have you all here, and hopefully, as we do every year, we'll walk through some of these slides and tell you about the state of the PRCA. So we'll get started, if I can make this thing work. Look there. We always start with a number page, and that number page gives us an indication of where the PRCA is. So if you'll take a look at that slide, you'll see that this year, 2015, we ended up with 624 rodeos. As you can see, from 2014 at 607 and 2013 at 611, that we are on a growth plane. That's a great thing, and the board of directors and this administration have discussed this many, many times. At 624, although that shows great growth in professional rodeo, particularly in the PRCA, it does cause us some problems, and as we look down through the other numbers, the indication will be there. You'll see the total payout for 2015 was $46,349,782. And you can go from 2013, the comparison at $39 million to $46 million. So we're obviously proud of the increases in purse money, and it has a lot to do with the people that are in this room. Thank you very much for continuing to put money into the PRCA rodeos. Total contestant numbers, and this is the one that you have to compare with the 624. As you can see, from 13 to 15, we have a decrease in our contestants. If you look at decreasing number of cowboys and increasing number of rodeos, I think you all know where that puts us. That is a concern of the board of directors and a concern of this administration as to how we increase the number of contestants that we have, so that we can obviously fill 624 of your rodeos. We are working in that direction, have been for years. It is a tough situation, and I can't stand up here and tell you that we have all the answers for it. I know that we are working with youth. Obviously, we are part of Little Britches and the National High School Rodeo Association, the junior division in college rodeo, to try to create more contestants for professional rodeo. It is a difficult initiative, and I would be not telling the truth to you if I told you that wasn't a big concern of the administration and the board of directors. Total entries, though, if you look at that helps quite a bit. When you look at 13, we were down in 14, and there were some reasons for being down in 14, but back up again in 2015, and for that, I'm going to show you a slide that's going to give you some indication as to where we were. If you look at this slide, the increases in entries from 14 to 15, you'll see that every event had an increase of entries. So obviously the total number of entries at 117,000 this year. You can look at the totals, but look at the biggest increase in the steer roping. There were some independent steer ropings that we had. J.P. Wickett and his crew put together this year, but every event has an increase in the number of entries. We'd like to think that part of that has to do with the dollars that are now involved, and certainly in this event, the Wrangler National Finals here, also with the RNCFR in Osceola County. So the increase in dollars obviously prompts more entries. If you look at this is the conversation of the week. Obviously, when you start looking at the go-rounds for the Wrangler National Finals, which starts Thursday. In 2013, the first place check in the go-rounds paid $18,000. In 2015, with the generosity and the partnership with LVE and LVCVA and the PRCA, they are now paying $26,231. The average will pay $67,269 as compared to $47,000. This is a game changer for professional rodeo. It is we've had lots and lots of conversation about the future. I'm not sure how you make this event any better, very frankly, but they continue to do it. Sean Davis and his crew, all the people behind the scenes of the Wrangler National Finals continue to make this an outstanding event. the biggest and best event certainly in Las Vegas, but certainly the Super Bowl of rodeo. We are very, very proud of the partnership. The next 10 years, we're going to be in Las Vegas. This is the 31st year that we've been here, and like I said, it's a real game changer for our contestants. And I can't thank Las Vegas for the ability to come together with this contract for the next 10 years. And we continue to work. Matter of fact, we met yesterday, continue to work on some new items for the Wrangler National Finals. We're not satisfied with where we are today. We are going to continue to try to increase not only the excitement of the Wrangler National Finals, but really look at how we make it even better. And as you walk around through Las Vegas this week, you're going to find out that we just keep putting more and more people in here. Even though we don't have any more seats to give or sell, we do keep putting more and more people into Vegas. The Vegas experience is unbelievable this time of year, and they're very, very pleased, and we're very, very pleased to have them as partners for the next 10 years. The Wrangler $1 Million Tour, as you can see, needs some work, and I think I stood up here last year and told you that thank goodness I didn't put a timeline on it, but the tour needs a shot in the arm, and we're going to, and I'm going to put a timeline on it to put myself under some pressure. We're going to require that those tour rodeos give us some feedback this year, because we do need to increase the awareness of the tour and take a real long look at what the tour means to professional rodeo. The All-American Series in Waco, as you can see, requires 30 rodeos to be in that. There we have 550 contestants that went to over 30 rodeos. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of people, but I will tell you that the statistic that is bothersome at times is that 80% of our contestants go to 20 rodeos or less a year. So anytime that we can increase the number of rodeos that our contestants participate in is very, very positive for the entire PRCA and our committees for sure. I won't go into the details on the breakdown, but you can see it on there. I'll leave it up there for a minute while you digest the breakdown. This slide's pretty impressive if you look at the numbers on this. As everybody knows, part of the contract with Las Vegas, the board of directors dealt with every piece of the base of professional rodeo, from contract personnel to committees to the circuit system to our contestants, of course. And part of that contract that LVE agreed to was that we had dollars to put into the circuit system, so that we could build a circuit system a little stronger than the one that we had, and then of course end up with the Ram National Circuit Finals in Osceola County. They have been great partners with us over the last 2 years as we have negotiated through that piece. Aaron Inget and his crew did a great job with the Osceola County piece. But if you look at the total sponsored money, and the sponsor money, remember the sponsor money from LVCVA, the $1.2 million that went into the circuits is considered to be sponsor money, because that is a sponsor contract. But in 2014, we went from $619,000 to over $2 million that we put into the circuit system. Most of it compliments of LVCVA, but the other piece is Sarah Muirhead and her group out of the sponsor pile. So when you look at, are we growing rodeo as far as the dollars go, I don't think you can argue with this slide or the slide with the Wrangler National Finals. $2 million, from $600,000 to $2 million. That's a big increase for professional rodeo. You may or may not have read the latest sports news, but there was an article in there regarding some international pieces that we have been working on. This is an initiative for 2015, has been for 15, and it will be for 16. We feel like when you go back to the original slide and you look at the decrease in contestants that we have, And we have been battling that decrease at about 1% a year, which is, I guess you could say, acceptable, but it really is not acceptable. We talked in length about where we go to provide new contestants and new opportunities. We met with the Mexican Federation, the Mexican Rodeo Federation, in February in San Antonio. They had actually inquired probably a couple of years ago about the opportunities of having PRCA rodeos in Mexico. And at the time, probably the timing wasn't exactly correct, so we really didn't react very well to it. They were insistent on meeting with us in San Antonio, so we obviously went. Mark Knapp and I were there at the first meeting. They were so excited about the possibilities of doing something with the PRCA. When they talk about the PRCA, when they talk about professional rodeo, they talk about the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Their passion for, we want to be part of this, was almost overwhelming. You couldn't say no to these people. Not that we wanted to, but you couldn't say no, because the passion was, they looked at that PRCA logo and it was so important to them and meant so much to these people that we had to continue with a relationship with them to provide an opportunity. So that's exactly what we did. Mark worked very hard at trying to provide the go-between. We have a little bit of obviously, when you start talking about international, you have somewhat of a language barrier, so we battled through that a little bit. But we ended up with about 15 rodeos in Mexico that we are going to co-sanction for 2016. They have somewhere in excess of 2,500 members of the Mexican Federation down there. We are going to provide permits. They are going to buy permits, and then they are going to rodeo there in Mexico. And what happens at the end of it is that they will be treated just like a circuit when it comes to the Ram National Circuit Finals. So they can rodeo in Mexico at those 15 rodeos, and they can qualify through a circuit finals in Mexico, and then they will appear at the Ram National Circuit Finals. Our partners in Osceola County, which again, I can't compliment them enough for what they have done in their partnership there, are delighted to have an international group that they can, in fact, utilize for international travel for tourism. So Mexico is the footprint that we are developing, and from that footprint, we are going to continue. We have some feelers out in some other areas, Brazil being one of them, and Australia being the other. And so we think that it is a great opportunity for us to take rodeo, PRCA level rodeo, to an international group. The officials of the Mexican Federation will be here middle of the week, Mark? The middle of the week, so they will be here. So if you get an opportunity and you're around and you see them, please introduce yourself to them. They are very, very excited to be a part of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and we are very excited to look at the possibilities of increasing the numbers of contestants that the PRCA has by international, by being international. We continue with the Justin Boots playoff, the Puyallup and Omaha. That's a $440,000 payout. It is a culmination of year end, and we have new contracts in place and are deciding at this point in time how that works. But we're very, very satisfied with the Omaha situation that we are dealing with. As a matter of fact, I think we're meeting with Puyallup this afternoon. But and that's an ongoing piece, the Justin Boot playoffs. Under member relations, I think everybody's aware of the permit, the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association permit. We had 112 of those this year. 1,784 renewed or new permits, and you can see the breakdown. I think it's important that you look and see the breakdown at 825 in the rough stock and 1,215 in the timed event. Total members for 2015, approximately 6,700 competitive contestants. I think you all know that Clint Corey came to the PRCA a few years ago as the director of the judging program. He's done an outstanding job, and the judges do an outstanding job. That might be one of the toughest jobs in the world, because I can assure you that you're never quite right when you're a judge. You either are too high or too low, or not doing something that's correct. And I don't know if you know this or not, but if you have an opportunity to stand around long enough, you'll get all the free advice that you need from this group. And it's worth every penny of what you pay for it, I can assure you that. But the judges continue, the judging program continues to flourish under Clint's leadership. They went to Mexico and did a judging seminar down there, and they were very, very pleased with what they saw. I was in Chihuahua for a rodeo prior to this judging seminar, and I can assure you that they are determined to create the exact same environment that PRCA has here in the States, in Mexico. And the judging program was a huge part, obviously, of that seminar, and how Mexico is going to react, or anybody international is going to react. They have adopted our rule book, obviously, and they will perform as we do here in the PRCA in the States. They assigned over 600 judges to rodeos. They added 7 new judges, joined the program in 2015. So my hat's off to Clint and all of the pro officials. Industry outreach, very, very important part of the PRCA. We added a new livestock program coordinator. He's here this morning, and if you haven't met him, you should. Jed Pugsley. We were very, very fortunate to steal him away, and he has done an outstanding job. We understand the importance of welfare in industry outreach, and we are bound and determined in the board backing us 100% on a hire with a livestock program coordinator. This gives Cindy Schonholz, which you all know, and what an outstanding job she has done, that gives her some freedom to do some other things that she's got on her task plate. But welcome, Jed. We appreciate you being here, and this is a very, very important part of livestock health and welfare, the education process, and of course, Julie Jutton and her crew and the youth programs. I know Jay Cannon and his son are here today, and they're doing a little bareback school that's what we need. We've got to create new rodeo contestants, and all of these things play a part in it. And I appreciate you being here, Jay, and to all of our crew there. They're trying very, very hard to make sure that we do and continue to create. If you're going to be around this week, the permit challenge is tomorrow? Thursday, yeah, here at the South Point. And if you get an opportunity, you might go down and see that. That's another piece that the board has been instrumental in backing us with, and we're pleased about that. We increased it to the timed events last year, and so if you get an opportunity, that might be something that we would love to see you there. Media, you can take a look, and the media claims to work 24/7 there at the PRCA, but I obviously think it's probably 25/8. Somebody's around all the time, and there's obviously, if you look at the list of things that they produce for us, it's amazing what they do. We have, in fact, continued to look at the sports news and have some ideas about maybe the future of the sports news as an online product. It seems like in the world today that most everybody's getting their information off the phone in your pocket, or your laptop, or your iPad. I know you're amazed that I even know those things, but actually it's written down here for me. So, but it's true, and so we are looking at some upgrades on the sports news piece. If you look at these numbers, this is the 30-hour replacement, which has been in effect for since 13. You can see that it continues to at 969 for actual replacements made. The reentry policy You can look at it, 1,900 contestants entered or placed in rodeos, which is very helpful, obviously, to the turnout situation. And then the walk-up on 2015, 128 actual replacements. So that was implemented a few years ago by Chris Horton and his group, and it is consistent. The numbers have been consistent. Rodeo pay, if you remember last year, when the board of directors had an initiative to require rodeo pay, you can see that it has been successful. And change is a hard thing for an awful lot of people. I understand that. But I think if we're not changing, we may be a little stale. And I think the rodeo industry has had somewhat of a habit of being pretty stale anyway at times. But you can see that 570 rodeos participated in rodeo pay. The total money paid out, $48,553. You can also see that the entry fees and dues paid to the PRCA saved us $12,800 in credit card fees. So there is obviously reasons for the things that are being done at times, and obviously $12,000 is $12,000 to anybody. I put this slide up, I think, 2 years ago, because I think that sometimes it's difficult to communicate with the PRCA or the PRCA to communicate with you. There are a number of ways that you can communicate with the PRCA. I know probably everybody in this room could tell me one instance where they didn't get a call back or somebody didn't do what they thought they were supposed to do. I can assure you that we are aware of some of those situations. But there is a method, and all of these from the board of directors to the grievance process. And I think the grievance process 2 years ago, when I stood up here and said, you are all members of this association, the grievance process does not necessarily only apply to certain people. It applies to every member of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. And if there is an opportunity, that is in place to be used. So your voice can be heard, but you've got to take the initiative to say, hey, look, I want to go further than this. If the answer is no, then maybe the answer is not really no, but it's no at the time. So there is a process to be able to have your grievance heard or your case heard within the PRCA. There's also a number of ways that you can at least communicate. These numbers of these directors and advisory councils are all listed in the sports news. So if you need to get a hold of somebody, there's email addresses and phone numbers in there of somebody that you need to call. So if there's a problem, please be diligent at responding to the problem, but please be diligent at trying to make sure that somebody hears your voice in this deal. It may not always be the first phone call. I'm not going to guarantee you that, but I am going to guarantee you that that there is a method, and it's right there, and it's right at your disposal. So take advantage of that situation, please. The Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, if you were around last night, the gala was a great evening, and they honor Mel Potter, who is a longtime PRCA member, and Mel told some great stories last night if you had the opportunity to be here. The gala is every year. The gala is every year on Monday night. Unfortunately, it's the only night that we can have that gala, and it doesn't suit everybody because a lot of you get in late yesterday and don't have the opportunity. But if you do have the opportunity, we would love to have the support. The gala last night with the auction items raised about $40,000. The Hall of Fame, typically Hall of Fames are losers, and as far as financial losers, you can look around the whole country, and I can assure you that you're not going to find too many of them that have positive bottom lines. I can tell you that the last 3 years, under Kent Sturman's direction, the Hall of Fame has been profitable. Not only profitable, but has exceeded really the expectations of the PRCA. He's done a phenomenal job with it. I think the board of directors is thrilled to see a Hall of Fame actually make money. I can assure you that the PRCA, the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, is one of a few that's making any money. But again, under Kent's direction, it has really flourished over the last few years. So Kent, I appreciate what you're doing. The PRCA appreciates what you're doing, and the gala was great last night, and again, that please, if there's an opportunity, the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame is the place where we continue to create the history and hold the history of our great association. So think about when you're making contributions, and I'll get to some statistics in a few minutes about rodeo fans in general and rodeo people in general, continue to, in fact, participate with charitable organizations. This one is deserving of all of our attention. So I would recommend to you that you, when you think about making donations, and if you think this is a pitch, it dang sure is. But it's well deserved. This creates and holds the history of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association in Colorado Springs. The Champions Challenge, as most of you know, is a product that this is in its third year, and is a product that we designed with the help of the sponsor group and our contestants to provide and produce a television product. It is the top contestants in our game that are one-headers that are these different sites. This is the 16 schedule, and you can look at that deal, and I'm not sure it's exactly defined yet, but it darn sure is pretty close to being finished. So we're still working on a few issues with the challenge, but at one time it was 7 when we first entered into this thing, and then in 14, and now we're at 10, and we plan on being at 10 in 16. If you watch CBS Sports Net, this is the television product that not only our sponsors want to see, but we feel like our fans want to see also, and that is the consistency. Rodeo doesn't do television very well. It does here at the Wrangler National Finals, because you can pick a contestant and you can follow that contestant throughout the 10 nights. Unfortunately for the way rodeo works, some of our top contestants may show up at a short round somewhere, and we might not see them for another 3 months, and television doesn't wait. So to produce the Champions Challenge, to make sure that the same faces are being seen as the stars of rodeo, is the initiative that we had to try to take care of. Television over the years for Pro Rodeo, you don't look at any other professional sport and they say, look, we're going to put anybody on television. We're going to put the Continental Basketball League on television. Hope that works. There was a reason why Michael Jordan was on, and again, this dates me back because I couldn't even tell you probably who. LeBron James, that's a better one. LeBron James is on every Sunday is because that's what the world demands out of the NBA, and that is the basic program that we need to have for professional rodeo, and that is people need to see our top athletes time after time after time. So hence the creation of the Wrangler Champions Challenge. I can't tell you how much I appreciate these 10 spots that have done the things that they have to incorporate a Wrangler Champions Challenge with us. They are partners in a brand new initiative, and again, I do appreciate those committees that have stepped up to the plate and said, hey, we want to be part of this. And again, I thank you for that deal, because it was a risk when we started it, and it's been successful. I'll give you some numbers in a minute on television, but that looks like the closest thing we have to a finished product on the Champions Challenge for 2016. Our properties department, as you all know, I think, if you look at the Wrangler National Finals logo for this year, you'll see that there's an addition to that logo that says Polaris Ranger, and that is a presenting sponsorship. And our properties department, under Sarah's leadership, is out there trying to look at corporate sponsorships every day. And the Polaris piece is a wonderful piece, a great partnership with them. They provided 24 of the Polaris units to us. And every one of the world champions gets a Polaris. Every one of the RNCFR champions gets a Polaris. They were kind enough to donate one for the Hall of Fame that they auctioned last night. And the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund has one that's donated that is being raffled, right? Not the right word? Okay. Raffled while you're here. So if you get a chance, buy a raffle ticket. You might win yourself a Polaris. Great partnership, and Properties works hard. One of the other pieces that we have done for the last 7 years, almost 8, is when you sign a sponsorship agreement, we have taken the opportunity to make sure that part of the money from every sponsorship goes back into the circuit system. We feel that's so important to this industry to make sure that we strengthen that circuit series, that we don't let the sponsors get away without a piece of that sponsorship money going back into the circuits. And if you'll remember the slide from earlier, from 600,000 to over 2 million, part of that is the Properties is working hard to make sure that the circuit system is in place, and that we're adding money to the circuit system every year. If you're fortunate enough to have tickets to the Wrangler National Finals over there, you'll see a brand new LED board there in the arena. And I haven't seen the board itself, but I've seen Sarah showing me some video of it, and it's going to be outstanding. So you'll see it. It's on the TV wall, and it's brand new, and the graphics are unbelievable. So we're moving forward, and I appreciate that. It's difficult at this point in time, the 1st of December, to talk about a finished financial page for the PRCA for this year. But I can assure you that under Joe Schaefer's leadership, who is our CFO, he keeps me tuned in on the financials of the PRCA. PRCA will again have a very strong financial year this year, just like we have had over the last 5 or 6 years. That information is available as the annual report comes out, but I can assure you that there's no long-term debt at the PRCA, and the operations itself is very, very strong. The board and this administration met not too long ago to talk about it. They approved the 2016 budget has been approved by both the board of directors and the properties board, and not only is this a very strong year, but we believe that with 2016 will come another very strong year for Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. So we're very pleased with what happens, and I use this statistic every year that we have an independent audit company that comes in and obviously audits the books at the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and they consistently, we are in the 87.8 or 88% of every dollar that comes in the front door of that is used in a membership program. So 88% of every dollar is being given back to what should be a member-driven association like ours. So a strong financial picture means more money across the board. And again, I can assure you that this year will be a very, very good year for the PRCA. We do produce an annual report. It usually is out by March the 1st, I believe. It is online. You can get a copy of it, a hard copy, but you do have to request it from the office. We don't just print them and send them, but it is online, and you can go in and then you can look for yourself and see what position the PRCA is in as far as of all of the pieces that go into the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. The live attendance for professional rodeo hovers around 5 million mark. These numbers that you're looking at right now are provided for us by an independent Scarborough research company, and every year the number hovers around 5 million. This has probably got a 7 or 8 point variance on both sides, would be my guess. I think you told me that, didn't you, Sarah, if I remember right? So consistently, the attendance, live attendance for rodeo is right in that range. We continue to hear that you all, particularly most of you in this room that operate rodeos and our committee people, continue to have great attendance. We very seldom hear that we don't have, or that something happened and that the numbers are down. So we know that the product is there, and we know that you're selling out some of your arenas, which means you can't have any more, just like we are here at Thomas and Mack. but we're pleased with the numbers. We're not seeing any decrease, certainly, in the product. So 5 million is about all we can do with the capacity that we have, particularly with our 620 or 24 rodeo committees. 35 million fans is a number that ask, are you a fan of rodeo? And people say, yes, I am. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'm not exactly sure, where we go with 35 million fans, but I do know that 8 million of them watched the Wrangler National Finals last year on television on the CBS Sports Net. And I know that 12 million of them watched some form of PRCA Rodeo, CBS Sports Net. I'm assuming that's streaming. So we do have an opportunity for the future with television. We need to continue the format that we have right now. We don't have any issues with the Wrangler National Finals, I can assure you. We sell this out, years and years and years. I think we've sold it out for the last 30 or 29 maybe, I think maybe when we first got here. But we do have an opportunity on television, and the CBS Sports numbers have come in really strong. So we know that people are tuning in and watching not only the Champions Challenge, which is the television product, but the Wrangler National Finals also. This last slide is just a little bit of a breakdown as to what the demographics look like for professional rodeo. Obviously, we just talked about the 5 million, the 8 million, and the 12 million. But if you take a look at the interesting male to female, almost half and half. The ages, I think, is worth noting from 18 to 34, and then obviously over 50 at 49% of our audience. The other ones, married, income, technology, everybody's got a cell phone, including rodeo. But the interesting one, we were talking about the Hall of Fame, is that 74% of this audience contributes money to a charitable organization. I think that's pretty amazing, and I think everybody should be proud of that fact. This next statistic makes Pete Coors and Ron Dodge really happy when they see these. Obviously, that Mr. Coors and Ron Dodge is the president of Pendleton Whiskey. And unfortunately, I put this together last week before Red Bluff was at the Silverado Steakhouse last night, because according to the wait staff, these statistics are completely wrong. They should be somewhere like 84% on the beer, and they said over 60% on the whiskey. So, guys, we really appreciate what you do for rodeo, particularly Red Bluff and that group, for trying to support Pete Coors and Ron Dodge. In closing, I'm going to tell you that the PRCA and the board of directors has their goal is to create more and more and more, and to be a better organization. We cannot do it without the help, particularly of the people in this room. I have taken on the initiative over the last year to make sure that we are communicating, that we are better communicators from the PRCA level, and the communication has been directed at the committees, because I can assure you, and I don't want anybody to take this wrong, but we do cycle our athletes through just like any other professional sport. But we can't do this job without the committees. And if we lose a committee, then I think it takes 10 times as long to go back and reinstate. So my goal for this year is to continue the communication with the committees, to listen more than talk, and Allie and I went on a road trip this summer and felt like we were rodeoing, and I think we were at 8 rodeos in a month, maybe 3 weeks, and got to see different size rodeos and take the initiative to try to talk to the committees and find out what the issues are and how we address those issues. This group right here that's sitting in this room, one black hat doesn't fit everybody in here, and I think that the PRCA needs to do a better job of listening to the committees and what the initiatives are and what the problems are. We want to grow. We want to see 625 rodeos or possibly 626 or 630 next year, but we want to be able to do the job in providing the contestants and the support from the PRCA to help you. So if there are things that we need to hear, please utilize one of those avenues to give us at least your feedback. We can't do anything unless we hear from you. We can't guess as to what we think you should and shouldn't do. We always get in trouble when we do. And the board talks about it at the meetings, and you know who the board members are. They're listed in the sports news. The phone number for my office is in there. The phone number for Aaron Ingett's office is in there, and everybody else is in there. So please take the opportunity to address any issues that you have. We do appreciate this group. Particularly, you are the owners when it comes to the PRCA, and if you compare this sport to any other sport, you end up being the owner group. So we do appreciate it. We thank you for being here this week, attending the convention. We hope you get something out of it, out of one of the breakout sessions or anything that you attend. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. We couldn't do it without our contestants. So every group has their own opportunity, the members to the committees to the sponsors. So thank you for your attendance this morning. I hope I didn't bore you too badly. So this will, as taped, will be on ProRodeo.com this afternoon. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. And we'll be up front here if you have some questions or something we can answer. Thank you very, very much.